Wow, we would have never believed this. You can listen to us on our podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on Google. Go out there and listen to us when you're driving to work, or maybe when you're just sitting at home, or you're on the treadmill at the gym. Go on out there and listen to our podcast. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too.
They were releasing factual documentation of the fact that they did do that. So I don't have to say allegedly.
You don't have to.
Part of
Well,
the
congratulations.
show.
You don't have to.
Hey guys, so we have a lot to talk about today. We got the Brittany Griner deal going on, the Twitter files, Elon Gate, whatever you want to call it, new issues with TSA and parental rights, and as always, we have good news to bring you as well. So we had everyone nearly call out this week from being able to come in, but we pray for Tom. He's got COVID. So we have our normally our technical director here with us today, Alex, because this is a multi-person show.
Yeah, there's like a long list of people that we have, and then like I'm the bottom of the list of that list. So here I am.
Normally we don't like you to have to serve two roles at once, which he's trying to technical direct
I'm doing this.
be on the show
Usually
at the same
I'm behind
time.
the TV.
So yeah. Anyway. I think there's a lot of rightfully so, a lot of controversy about this Brittany Griner release. I agree that a U.S. citizen should be brought to the U.S., but she did break a law. So, but the thing is, like, okay, this is a small time thing, but we're releasing a literal terrorist responsible for the death of thousands, maybe millions of people. I don't know how much you know about this, Alex, but he was involved in war-torn Africa, providing guns to underage children, and
I'm vaguely familiar with it. Yeah. I know he's contributed to like at least a few hundred or more than that of American lives lost.
I'm not a fan of. Let's just leave it at that. I'm not going to get super controversial about the individual, but simultaneously, I don't think that anybody should be left over in a Russian prison.
Exactly.
Especially people that are still left there for the release of Brittany Griner, right?
Well, we were talking about it earlier before we started the show. Well, we were like, oh, why did they release the U.S. Marine? And we found out that he's been dishonorably discharged. And then we were like, oh, we can kind of see why. But it's like we still have one of ours, like over there. Like, and if it comes,
two of ours.
If it comes to like, if it's about,
they've been there for years.
If it's bringing back the U.S. Marine, and then trying him here, that'd be better and more. It'd make more sense,
right?
Than having only Brittany Griner.
Right, absolutely. And the thing is, this was solely a political move, frankly. It was like, hey, it's big publicity, it's big in the news. Plus, she's a lib, right? So, hey, Biden's a lib, she's a lib. So, hey, we're going to break all the rules. We're going to negotiate with terrorists because we never negotiate with terrorists. Normal Americans don't. The government doesn't, unless you're Joe Biden and supposedly our president. Maybe he worked for another country. Who knows?
And also, Brittany doesn't like America, but she's like, America, please come save me.
Right. No. Yeah, she's like super anti-American. But hey, we got an anti-American president bringing back an anti-American citizen. So makes sense,
or
right? Or
like pushing gun control, and then we set up we trade an arms dealer.
Right. but there was one news article that says the Pentagon was concerned that this guy Bout, however you want to say his name, was going to go back to running arms. Of course he is. Of course
he's walking out to his job that he probably was still doing in prison.
Why? Good point. Why did Russia want him back? They probably honestly allegedly. There you go, Alex.
I appreciate it.
They probably don't care about their citizens all that much, frankly. Like it's a communist country, right? I mean, I don't know if it's actually socialist, whatever. But this guy's useful to them.
You could probably say that Putin is kind of reinstated the Soviet Union.
Yeah, I mean,
in a figurative sense.
Well, he's working on it in a literal sense.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
Anyway, So that's I think trading someone who I'm not a big fan of for someone who is gonna is not. Oh well, he might go back to doing. No. He's probably, like you said, probably doing it from prison. He's going to do that.
Exactly.
So we're basically, hey, someone who is anti-American, come back to America so that we can let a terrorist go free because we don't negotiate with terrorists
Well,
anymore.
we reference Daily Wire a lot here, but I'm a Crowder guy, and so basically Crowder made a good point too. He's like, we lost our only play by giving up Bout
for a worthless
for a
cause.
WNBA player.
In my opinion,
like,
worthless cause.
And like we're happy that she's back.
I do think she should come back.
Yeah.
But she also broke a law.
Yeah.
And she knowingly broke a law, whether she says so or not. My opinion, she knowingly broke the law. She's trying to say, oh, well, I hate America. Let's see how much she hates America now that she's back.
Well, maybe she has a
Russia.
change of heart now. Maybe because she's been bailed out. Maybe
She's probably still going to be an anti-American leftist lib. Right?
I agree. Yeah, I'm wishful thinking.
Right. But speaking of anti-American leftist libs, Twitter files.
Oh yes, that's a doozy.
Oh yeah.
And thank you, Elon, for doing all this because basically I think it was like literally a Friday after we filmed it, they dropped this in the evening or something like that, and basically they were talking about how Twitter actively suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story from Twitter itself.
Well, they weren't just talking about it. They were releasing factual documentation of the fact that they did do that. So I don't have to say allegedly.
You don't have to. Well, look, congratulations. You don't have to. We've been saying that. We've been talking about this for so long.
I listen to Bongino all the time. Speaking of people that were censored, right? It came out Twitter Files 2.0. Bongino was censored, right? So he was like, one of the comments he's been saying for a long time. He's like, hey, we got conspiracy theories, but all of them keep proving true.
It's like the whole Alex Jones thing. He's like the conspiracy theorist, but more and more he seems to be like
he's
more
becoming
right than he's not.
More and more sane every day as it goes along. So Twitter Files 2.0 was talking about the blacklisting, shadow banning, everything that we all knew was going on, right? We knew it inherently. We didn't have proof of it. Now we have actual proof of it. So we had actual literal documentation of cover-ups. We have literal documentation of shadow banning and blacklisting. And specifically, the reason I brought Bongino up because he was one of them that was specifically shadow banned and censored. And they came out and had actual documentation of proof. It wasn't like, hey, based on keywords or whatever. It was like, no, this guy. Specifically, this guy and others, but and now we had the New York Times article coming out saying that Meta is Twitter's rival, try to capitalize on Musk-induced chaos, but they're trying to spin it like, oh, he's doing a bad thing. He's doing America a service, and taking a stand for the First Amendment.
Well, actually, in a not super controversial opinion, I actually feel like if companies were just transparent, like, hey, we're really biased towards the left, and we're just open about it, and like, hey, we're gonna censor you just because we disagree with you. I'm more fine with that for a private company to be able to do that. But it's more like, oh, we're gonna censor you, we're gonna gaslight you into thinking that we're not, and that's the biggest issue. And I'm so glad that Twitter is actually, or Elon specifically, is actually like, let's dig this up. Let's be honest with our people.
Well, my opinion is they impacted the 2020 election.
They absolutely did.
And they're like, oh, well, there wasn't that many people. No. Like from hiding these stories, from hiding this stuff, you impacted millions and millions and millions of people from finding out about this information. Yeah, we knew about it to a degree because we stay informed, right? But there's a lot of people that had no clue about this stuff. Many of whom have come out and said, "Hey, had we known about this, we would not have voted for Biden."
Exactly,
right?
And
so did that affect the election? 100%.
And it's not necessarily like, oh, that means therefore Trump would have automatically won, but it was enough, at least in that study, to show that Trump would have hypothetically, figuratively won within the study. And so, YouTube, stop it.
Right. Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see if this episode gets aired or not. Right.
That's the allegedly. Okay.
Hey, you were concerned about last week, and
I was.
It got actually some decent play for our channel.
I thought it was going to get nuked for those topics. But
and I want to say right now, I was like, I'm having fun because Tom isn't here to censor me like he likes to do sometimes. Right?
Oh yeah.
He's like kind of keeps me under wraps.
Yeah.
But Nathaniel's giving me the eye.
Or he'll say the word Tom a lot in replacement of other words.
Right. Speaking of foreign countries, foreign governments, and evil, there's some things going on in our country right now, and we've been talking about this internally in our company a lot. But TSA is planning on taking facial recognition technology nationwide, supposedly, allegedly, whatever. It's going to be optional, right? Like you can choose to opt out of it or whatever. But
for now,
the implications here, right? This is all speculation. But the implications here is, China, which I know you know a little bit about, probably more than I do. Nathaniel definitely knows more than I do, of the social credit score system, right? They and what's interesting, right? When I think of this, I think of, like I talked about this morning, the mark of the beast, right? Like you're not going to be allowed to buy or sell.
I don't think it's there yet, but I think it's a step towards it.
It's far from it, right? But like, where does the road ultimately lead to? So they're using facial recognition. Could they use this to prohibit people from going on planes? Why couldn't they?
Exactly, and
Right.
I would even argue saying like, this is about power because they already know who's coming and going off these planes. It's like you have to be like, you can't have a criminal record for the most part. You have like basically you can't be like if you're on a no-fly list. It's like you can't fly anyways. So basically, they're saying we just want to do this. At least I feel like they just want to do this because it's like they just want to know where everyone's going.
But the no-fly list is, I think, it's semi-controversial, because I could see both sides of that argument, right?
I agree.
But the interesting thing, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, is there was another article. I think it was Tucker Carlson came out. I think it was a couple days ago, with a military official targeting a concerned mom. So this mom, and this is related. That's why I'm bringing it up. This mom, and I'll I'll make the connection for you guys in a second. But this mom was talking about, they were promoting some stuff in her school that or in her child's school, elementary school, that she disagreed with, was promoting pansexual, and she made a Facebook post about it. But the crazy part, this is crazy, right? And we're gonna play a little bit of the clip for you guys, but we're also gonna put up a link. Make sure we do that for all the articles that we're talking about. Put up a link so you guys can go back to them. But the crazy part is military and local police got involved in something that really, like, it was a Facebook post about something that she had every right to take a stand against, right? So go ahead and play that video, Alex.
Called Angela Redding found out that her child's elementary school was advertising something called pansexuality, and she thought this seems a little much for an elementary school, so she complained about it on Facebook. What happened next didn't used to happen in this country and never should, and we only know about it because of a Substack called Chaos and
I'll tell
Control.
you, if that happened in my child's school, I definitely would have.
This can't be real.
I wouldn't have just made a Facebook
So
post.
in
I would have made
response to
the same
Angela
thing for me.
Redding's
Oh, yeah.
post, out of the blue, an Army officer at Joint Base MDL, it's a nearby military base, called Angela Redding an extremist on Facebook. That officer is called Lieutenant Colonel Christopher
And that
Schilling.
part's bad enough, right?
Schilling
That
then
he
wrote
called her
on
an extremist,
Facebook
right? But
that,
listen,
He knows what he's doing.
The Joint Base leadership have had the security forces working with multiple state and local law enforcement agencies to monitor this situation.
Wait, what? You got military and local law enforcement involved over a Facebook post because someone was taking a stand for their child's school over something they had not only absolutely every right to do, but frankly, I would have done the same, if not more so, much more probably.
Yeah.
That's one reason why my child isn't in public school. But I mean, it's flabbergasting that military and police got involved.
Devil's advocate though, what if this is just some random outlier of a guy who's just like super crazy about this stuff, and he used his authority to push this against her?
Alex, if that was the case, one, local law enforcement wouldn't also be involved.
That's also very
true.
Two,
military would have come out and said something about it already. 3, he most likely would have been probably dishonorably discharged over it, or at least court-martialed, right?
Yeah.
So, you may have a point if it was only briefly, but there was way too much other
it kept
stuff
going.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
So this is Biden's military. Imagine that, right? So most likely none of you that are watching this show, or very few, if any, of you voted for Biden, right? But you need to take a stand and continue to inform, right? So that was something that we were talking about earlier, was like if you're not making a point to educate your children on issues, on political issues as well, you say, oh, well, politics and religion aren't polite to talk about at the dinner table. Baloney. I don't believe that for 1 second, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're not talking about it, someone else is, and they're guaranteed to be telling them something you don't want them to hear, or at least not exactly the way you want them to hear it. So it's your responsibility, right? So we come out, we do media, we do videos, we do other stuff, right? But I'm also not neglecting at home. That's my first what's the word, ministry, right? That my first ministry is to my family, my own personal nuclear family and my children and my wife, right?
Yeah, for example, like I have a kid my first ever kid is coming in March, and I know that once that kid is 5, I'm gonna have to be like, hey, what'd you learn in school today? Like, did they say anything that wasn't like school related? Because especially if they're in public school, because I have no idea what it's gonna be like in 5 years.
Yeah, well,
It's gonna be insane.
I think the key is, like, for you're gonna probably send your kid to public school, right? Stay involved and be very integrated in that, right? So for us, we homeschool. There's which that gained a lot of momentum. I was talking with my wife about that just the other day. That gained a lot of momentum during the lockdown, COVID, and all that.
Massive uptick of homeschooling.
Oh yeah, especially in Bakersfield, Kern County, the state of California, right? But and not all public schools are bad, and not all public school teachers or administration is bad. Tom's wife is a public school administrator and teacher, and several of her staff are, and they're doing a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
They have some guidelines and restrictions that they have to stay within, but they're still making a difference, right?
The people that I know that are still in elementary school I went to, there's a lot of good people there, and I trust most of them.
And I'm making a point to say this because I don't want any of you watching thinking, oh, we're against the teachers or against the administrators or any of
public
that.
schooling.
Right. We're not. However, I do think that as a parent, regardless of where your kid goes to school, private school too, right? Nathaniel went to private school. I went to private school. You still need to stay involved and stay vigilant. You can't just, they're going to raise them. No.
There are too many parents that just go, oh, what? And
yeah, Tom says many times, it's your job as a parent inside the home to raise your children. It's not the school's job. It's not the church's job. They are to reinforce what you're learning at home. So Nathaniel had something to add about Elon.
Yeah, I got a fun little Elon transparency. You guys, actually, this happened. He actually tweeted back at this person right as soon as you guys started recording. Elton John tweeted this morning at 5 a.m.
What's he doing up at that early?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Especially since I think he's on tour right now. So like,
oh, that could be why
then. But he said, all my life, I've tried to use music to bring people together, yet it saddens me to see how misinformation is now being used to divide our world. I've decided to no longer use Twitter, given their recent change in policy, which will allow misinformation to flourish unchecked.
Bravo.
Yeah, and what did Elon say about that?
Elon literally said, and I think this is probably one of the best responses you could give, is, I love your music. I hope you come back, or hope you come back. Is there any misinformation in particular that you're concerned about?
And then probably no response, right?
No response. But
he already deleted his account.
But that's the kind of transparency response that you'd kind of want to see. It's he didn't just say, well, good for you, leave. He's just like, no, I actually like you as I like your music. But what's problem? What's the problem? You didn't say you said misinformation is such a broad statement.
Well, he's like, I'm busy cleaning this whole place out. Like, tell me what I've missed. Like, I'll take care of it right now.
Exactly. Like this. But yeah, this is the kind of response that I think really should probably be.
Go ahead.
Well, what I think is funny is he's like, hey, you know how you're uncovering a lot of the shadow banning and a lot of the lies and corruption and everything else. That's misinformation. No. It's literally the exact opposite of that.
Or he's acknowledging the misinformation.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's literally the exact opposite. Okay, you've been receiving misinformation all this time. Let me give you the actual information. Well, that's misinformation. No, it's the opposite.
Also,
this is mind-boggling to me because what are you talking about? This is literally the opposite of what you said.
But speaking of Elton John, there was a really funny moment with Joe Biden. It was some sort of like AIDS cure event or something like that, and Elton John attended it. And then Joe Biden said something along the lines of like, "We're doing this for you," like to Elton John. It's like Elton John doesn't have AIDS. It was really funny.
Oh man, I'm also just thinking. I'm just like, I'm so proud of Elton John for finally standing up now. In 2022, after all the misinformation wave hit, and he's just like, you know what? Now I'm going to say something.
They're talking about misinformation from the left side.
Yeah,
that's why he's like, I don't want to hear about that stuff.
So speaking of gaslighting, we had this article of that came out, and we've seen it more recently in local news too, and on Facebook and everything else about the Satan Club that's being promoted, right? At schools, and apparently it's hit national news, so it's probably not just Kern County. I mean, though it could be, right? Like there's stuff that happens here that hits national news.
Absolutely.
But so yes, I'm against the Satan Club. The thing is, this isn't about the Satan Club. This is gaslighting to get people ultimately what they're trying to do is get the Christians canceled. They're just using this as a tool to do that. Oh, they're going to stand up against this. Well, it's got to be balanced, right? Oh, well, then we'll just get rid of all clubs. Okay, cool. That's what we were trying to accomplish.
Exactly. Yeah. It's also they're probably going to be like along the lines of like, I'm not well versed in Satanism, shocking, but they're more about like self-love and self-worship, and so then they're like, it's not about Satan, man. It's about the self, and then that's probably how they're going to probably get away with this potentially.
Well, the thing is, it never should have got this far, right? So it was some trying to choose my words wisely here. It was some schools that allowed this to seep in, and it got so far that now it's hit national news. Hopefully, the Christians don't get canceled over it, but that's what it's about, right? So yes, absolutely, every bit. You guys know us. You guys watch us. You guys know what we stand for. Clearly, we're not for Satan Club, but clearly, like we can read between the lines and know that this is not about that as much as it is about gaslighting and trying to get the Christians canceled. So, just I think that there's an important note there. So, as you see stuff come out, pay attention to what's going on and maybe think a little bit more deeper about what their actual motive is and what they're trying to fool you into believing or into doing or into thinking, right?
Exactly. It sounds so weird to say out loud though. It's just like, hey, want to meet me at the after school Satan Club?
Right. So as we do every week, we have a bit of good news to share with you this week, and we try to do that because we yes, there's things, and we try to keep you informed. Some of it can sometimes be a bit negative, obviously, but there's a purpose to it. It's not just, hey, let me talk about all the bad things going on in the world. There are plenty of bad things, but guess what? There's also plenty of good things. So that's what we have for you right now. Alex, do you want to go ahead and tell them what the good news is?
Yeah, I brought it up a little bit earlier, and I think I even brought it up the last time a few months ago that I was on the relevant rants. My wife and I are having a kid. And so not only will you not see me from behind the camera, but I will be gone for a little bit in March to take care of our kid.
Yay!
New life.
Yeah, Alex is going to be gone.
No abortions. Definitely pro-life, and even more pro-life after this whole experience.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
and does your kid still have a tail?
Probably, yeah. We're getting another.
If not, you can do surgery and have one attached.
That's true. Yeah. Exactly.
So anyway, want to thank you guys. Prayers for Tom being sick.
Absolutely.
And hope you guys enjoyed watching today. Have a great day. God bless.